Do you ever feel like your money has a mind of its own and it's slipping away no matter how hard you try to hold on to it? I've been there too, and it is not a fun place to be. But today I'm going to share with you a simple yet powerful system that helped me control my cash. And it can do the same for you. You're going to learn practical tips in how to manage your finances seamlessly and get access to the free template, which we'll be going through in the video. You'll uncover strategies on how to save more without feeling deprived. Most importantly, feel like you have control. We want to have a tool that makes money work for us and not the other way around. Yes, I know. I'm sorry, I'll get it to you by Monday. I know. And this system is a one-size-fits-all, and is no matter what you are earning or how much money is coming in right now, this will work for you. In part one, we're going to cover the 3 phases of money and how to shift your perspective to view the cash that you have in a different way. And in part 2, I will show you how you can find your numbers and figure out how much cash you need for each category in those phases that we taught in part 1. And in part 3, I will demonstrate the system and how you can actually use it with my template and give you a step-by-step guide into the cash control system. Ready to finally feel in control of your money? Let's do it. Very quick disclaimer, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. If you have any questions or concerns in this video, please seek out professional advice. Now, what is one thing we can be sure about money? It likes to move. Whether that is money moving into your account, or if you're more like me, that is money moving more out of your account, the concept is the same. Because of the system that we live in, money likes to move. It's its default state. It is always in flux. What we're trying to attempt with this system is to make sure it moves in the directions that serve us best. Now, you may not realize this, but money, like the beautiful liquid of life, water, actually has 3 states. In the case of cash or money, now the 3 phases of money are past, present, and future. It exists on these 3 planes. Let's break them down. Naturally, you need money for things that have happened in the past. That's a bill for the power usage you've used over the last 3 months. You now owe that money to the power company because you used that. That is a past expense. Paying off your credit card. Now, credit cards are interesting because what they've done is actually moved the present cost into a past cost. So you've transitioned the phase of money between present and into past. You need to set money aside for these past costs that we all have. Now, present is the most obvious of all of these, and it is something that is a cost in the now, something that is an immediate expense. Money needs to go to something presently. It's like buying oil because you've run out in your kitchen, or your groceries for the week, or you don't have cumin and you can't make your favorite recipe. And just like the past, we need to have money allocated to this bracket of expenses. Now, future money, this is where it gets a little bit more interesting. Certainly an area that I have not paid enough attention to, especially in my younger years. One part of future money is the bills that we know are coming. We obviously, if you own a car, you know that registration is at the same time every year. Your insurance is due at the same time every year. These are future things that are coming, that we know are coming, that need to have some money associated with them already. But definitely when I was younger, I had absolutely no system for this, and a car payment would come up and I would just have to find the money somehow. I would have to sacrifice what I was eating that week, or I would have to pull stuff out of my savings to cover the costs of the car. But this is an ineffective way to do this. We know it's coming, so we should plan for it. Now, the second part of future money is that we have so many things in life that can happen that require money to solve a problem. Your fridge breaks at home, you need to get another fridge. These are things that we cannot plan for, but we definitely need to have some kind of buffer involved to make sure that we have some money for problems that come up. But the third part, and the most important part, is if you are thinking about, changing your life in a positive way, we often want to spend money in areas of self-improvement. That might be buying an online course, or you want to market your services on the internet and you need to spend some money on marketing. So these funds are things like improvement funds or a marketing fund. These obviously apply for people that are doing a business, but also for personal. If you want to buy a book every month and read something, you should have an improvement fund where you're allocating a little bit of money to make sure that you have that cost and it doesn't come out of some other area that you might need that cash for. This is certainly the area of cash control that doesn't get enough attention in our lives. And I know this may not seem revolutionary, but for me, when I first came across this concept, it was eye-opening. Now, I know that most people are probably thinking right now, yeah, that doesn't matter for me because I don't have enough cash anyway, but this system is helpful for anyone with any bank size and any income. Now, this is what some people call a cash allocation system. I call it the cash control system, but essentially it's an allocation method. Now, what this means is that you have a certain block of money that's going to come in and you have your components of where that money is going to go. And you're going to move money into separate buckets to allocate it to these different things that happen in life. We want to make sure that we cover the 3 phases of money, so past, present, and future, and make sure that we have adequate money set aside for those areas. But the key to the system is thinking that the money has been spent. Once you allocate it to a certain bucket or a certain area, that money is gone, it's already spent. Maybe you get paid $1,000 a fortnight and you are allocating $53 into your car fund to make sure that you're covering everything across the whole year. But when you look in your car account, you cannot pull that money out and say, oh, I'm just going to go out to lunch with my friends, or I'm going to go to the pub and spend that $53. The money is gone. And that is the way that you have to see it. Because the key is here, and we talked about it at the very beginning, is that money wants to flow. And what we're trying to do is control that flow into the areas where it should be. But to know how much to put into each of these buckets, we obviously need to do some calculating, some numbers, and find out how much each bucket costs and how much to allocate to them on a weekly, fortnightly, or monthly basis. So that is step 2, which we'll get into now, and that is know your numbers. How long has it been since you've last looked at, the last 3 months of your bank statements? It's been a while since I last checked, and I did this exercise again recently, and things were definitely out of whack because I left them for too long. So what do you have to do? Well, you have to find out what those expenses are. How much do you spend on your car? How much are you spending on those 9 different streaming services that I know you have? We really want to get all your different time period expenses on the same playing field. So that might be monthly or fortnightly. Interesting, doing this exercise is quite a good routine anyway, to make sure that you understand where your money's already currently going, and you can make changes if you wish at any point in this, and realize, hey, I actually don't want to subscribe to the Netflix charity fund and I'm going to cancel that next month. Now, let's build the whole system for you. Here is your cash control system. So what I'm going to describe in here is all of the different things that you need to get in place to make sure that you can use this cash control system. Now, this is the template that is found in the description below, and the way that it works is that you're going to grab all of the expenses that you found in kind of the last 3 months for all of your things that you spend money on in your life. Now, think about all the expenses that are also coming, whether that's your car, whether that's whatever, and make sure you add them in here and figure out, kind of break down a monthly expense, because this is the one that we want to pay the most attention to. Now, after you have kind of all of these set out, you might want to create some simple groups. Now, in these simple groups, you can add a sum and then control click the 2 things that might go in there. For health, it's insurance and the gym expenses. For bills and future utilities, you've got, bike service or water and internet or whatever it might be. So this is just a combination of different things as well. So if I wanted to add something in here, I could put a comma and then control click on this to make sure that it's that. So I've put them in green to label them. I'm going to remove this one because it's a business expense, but for personal expenses, I wanted to make sure that I'm allocating for my personal stuff as well here. There's some notes that you can read through that kind of explain each of these. And then we're going to move into the more exciting part, which is the actual how to allocate and bucket these systems. Now we're going to start with the business owner one because it is the one that I use. So we're going to start at the top. We have obviously the date, so I duplicate this for every single month, and I would make sure that I put in what I'm allocating here. If you get paid consistently, you'll know that it's every fortnight, so maybe you're going to put in all of your monthly fortnight. So maybe you get a bonus in here, so it's a $500 bonus or something. So you put all your cash in the top. Then you have your GST. In Australia, we must collect GST on behalf of the government, which is a goods and services tax. So you need to make sure that you're putting that in a bucket and not spending it because it's not your money. Then you have your super. You might want to make sure, because you're a business owner, you don't get paid superannuation or put any money into your 401k. It's actually tax-free. So you want to make sure that you allocate some money into making sure that you're paying that while you're going and building up a bit of a soft reserves while you're building your own business. Then we have tax. In Australia, we pay for Medicare, which is our medical system, and also we have tax that we need to pay to the government based on our earnings. So you set a percentage. You should figure out your percentage, look at last year's tax and how much you earn and what kind of percent of your income you're actually paying in tax. But as a business owner, this is a good number to know. If you're a company, you're kind of capped out at 25%. But with including Medicare and stuff, what I like to do is actually calculate my tax and Medicare and so on to make sure that I have enough money in here and it's just a bit of a buffer. So I just say 28% of all of my earnings go into this bucket. Then you correct your gross income. So you had your gross income up here. You're basically minusing this number from this number and it gives you your remainder. So you have an improvement fund. So you might want to buy something, hire someone, do something like that as a business owner. So putting some money in here is a really good idea. And then as you can see over the year, you're allocating roughly $1,400, as an approximate, because each month is maybe not 3 payment cycles, but 2. So it's an estimate, but it gets you a bit of a picture, at least, of your runway. Then you have general expenses, software, you have domains, you have email accounts that you manage, or, whatever. So you need to allocate money to that every month, and then you look at what your expenses are roughly over the year. Promotion, we want to make sure that we can have some money to spend on promo, whether you're marketing, whether you're building sales funnels, whether you're boosting ads on TikTok or whatever you're doing, whatever your sales stuff is. If you're a business, usually you want to allocate money towards promotion fund. The reason that this one's in green is because it's a future expense. General expenses are current expenses, so things that just come out every single month for current things that you're using. But these are allocating to the future. So these are those important parts that we want to make sure that we're actually paying attention to and adding some money in, because maybe you're not marketing now, but maybe you have a plan that in 12 months you want to do a marketing campaign. And wouldn't it be nice to end up in 12 months' time with $2,000 ready to go and start testing? So allocate some money into that bucket already. So reserves or back bills. So reserves are company reserves or business reserves. So you want to build this up over time, just especially if you're not, in the early days, you can't allocate a lot because you got to pay yourself as well as do the business, all that stuff. So just put a small number in here to start off with if you're at the beginning. But if you're a bigger business, put some more money in your reserves. It's nice to have some cash in the business just to make sure that you're ready to move on something if something bad happens, or if you ever need to execute and you are in a sticky spot, you have some money here. Because we don't know what's coming in the future. There's black swan events, you might get sued, all that stuff. These are just risk aversion strategies. This is kind of the blind spot. This could be red or green, but basically you want to clear any back bills that you have first. So if in case you do have some stuff that you owe money to, right? You have a credit card overdue, you have a loan that you need to pay. What you should rather do is add your 5% that you would normally put in here and put it into this and keep this at a low number. So you want to clear that backlog first of what you're spending. So this just calculates all the allocations that I've had for this period and then gives me a percent roughly of what the allocations for that week were across this. So it looks like I'm allocating 17% of my income into my allocations for my business. My business takes 17% of my overall income. Pretty interesting. So then you have savings first. I like to do this. It's a good philosophy. You want to get a small win in your system and you want to make sure that you just go, okay, after I've done that, I want to save some money. Personal money, some personal backup. So you pick a percentage that works for you. You might want to put a goal in here, you're moving to Europe, whatever it might be. And then you come down and this is where it gets into the individual's account. So if you aren't a business owner, you could skip over that top part, but basically this is the part where your money comes in and it's done the calculation and this is what you're getting paid. So this all should happen automatically. You shouldn't have to do this manually, especially if you know what you're going to be earning because you're a service-based business maybe, and you're just charging out a certain rate every single fortnight or month or whatever it is. So if that's the case, you can come down here and this is where it gets fun, is it starts with fun. So you've done your savings, that's done, and now you get a calculation, which is this take-home income minus the savings, and now you have the allocations that you're going to put in. So these are individual accounts that I have inside my own personal accounts. So you want to allocate and set some budget towards each thing in life, and this gives you a rough monthly estimate of what you're going to hit. So that's why we all moved all of those expenses into the monthly category, so that we could group them like this and make sure that at the end of the month, these numbers right here, you know, housing expense or health or whatever, come out on this side. So this is where you tweak and adjust your percentages. You might need to hit this to be the 1500s. So it might need to be 37%. There you go. We're in the right range. And as you do this, you know, you might be spending $200 a fortnight on food, so $600 a month. So you got to look at your monthly expenses. Is that how much I'm eating? Is that how much it costs? So then you want to make sure that these numbers add up to the ones that you've done in your expenses and your group. So you want to look at health. Health, 4.5%, $50, $57. I've got $188 set aside for my health. That's good. Maybe you need to go to the dentist in the future, so it's over allocated for. So maybe we want to just adjust that a little bit and leave ourselves some buffer room to make sure that we're hitting it. And a reminder that, you know, you might not get 3 payment cycles. So if that is $0, do we still hit, you know, the amount we need for each bracket? So health, is that enough now? Yes, it is. Oh, I bet maybe it's not enough for how much my living costs are. So we might need to adjust this. So you understand that most likely you need to play around with this and find your monthly numbers and figure out if you have enough money to allocate here. So what this is calculating is the sum of all of these and then your remainder, how much is actually left. So then it comes down to the bottom, and let's say you've dialed in all these numbers and these are perfect. Now, what this calculates for you is your remainder, and what this will do is go straight into your savings account. So then we have a savings total down the bottom here, and in this part, we're going to add the original 10% that we put at the top, or whatever your percentage is, and you're going to add your remainder of what's left over for that week. Then you can get a little high level of, okay, I save about $600 a month, about $7,000 a year. That's just going to get allocated over there, you know. And you can look at this and get a bit of an understanding of what actually costs you a lot of money. And these percentages also give a very good understanding of where your cash is actually going in life. You know, maybe you see that you're spending 70% of, you know, let's say we got 10% left over. You're spending all of your money, 55% of it on housing costs. And you realize maybe I should move somewhere cheaper. So that's how the cash system works. This is for you now to go and play with. I would definitely recommend playing with your expenses, getting this all aligned. And then if you're a business owner, use this. Make sure you got your tax all sorted. And if you're an employee, you can just play with this one here, add your numbers in, and then play with your individual accounts. And you might have different accounts here to me. So definitely add them if you need to, but these are the basic ones that I understand that most people have and need to allocate across these ones. So have a play and good luck. I just want to add one point. The reason that this system works for anyone with any kind of income level is because if you are a low income earner, as I said, you can adjust these to make sure that they're actually matching the lifestyle that you're currently leading. Sometimes there's periods in life where there is no fun money. You know, sometimes there's period in life where we aren't going to save for a holiday. And sometimes all we can allocate money towards is housing costs and our food that we have to put on our table. Now that is okay, and that is just life sometimes. So being realistic about your current situation and how much you have in this box is important. But the reason that it works is that these percentages can change at any time. Once you start getting more income, you can start looking at where that should go rather than just making sure that you can pay the bills, you know, and you can make sure that you have enough food on the table and that you've got a roof over your head. And this is just the fundamentals. But as long as your system pays for your key expenses that you have in here, and you're meeting these calculations and you're looking at your expenses and they match up, that's why it can work for anyone at any level, because it pivots and changes with life. And as you start earning a little bit more, maybe you get a better job, you can all of a sudden realize that maybe I can put 1% and then save $270 next year to do something fun, or I can sneak in 5% here and then take a holiday every year that costs $1,000. It's not a lot of cash each week, you know, and it does change with life situations. So this is definitely something you can play with for yourself. But you're just allocating a little bit across the next little while. Having the accounts at all set up in the system is a brilliant start. The fact that you can't allocate money into them now is a representation of where you're at, and that is okay. You know, if you can't even put the 0.5% in there, maybe one day when you can, you have this system and this automation set up, and all you'll have to do is re-put your numbers in and then set up the bank accounts to pass the money to the correct places and allocate. This is a practice of discipline with your own system, your own rules. Now, if you have struggles with money like me, I definitely recommend that in a lot of the bank apps, you can actually switch off the view of a lot of these accounts. Now, what that'll do is just show you how much you have in spending, and then if you hide all the other accounts, you just see the number that you have for that active week right now. When you need to go and reach for money, if a bill comes up, then go look at the bills account. But it should stay hidden at a high level so that you're not tempted by lump sums of money to go do things. Have a bit of a cycle and a weekly or monthly check-in with the cash and see where it's up to, but otherwise you can keep it hidden and just operate on your normal daily life. To get the template, please go to the description below, and all I need is your name and email address and I will send it over to you. If you'd like any advice on how to actually get this set up for yourself and have any questions or want some feedback on this, definitely join my community. It'll be linked in the description below, and I can give you some one-on-one advice, and plus there's a free course in there that you can go do that is on the Ideal Life operating system. I hope you feel now a sense of empowerment over your money. And if you want to feel a sense of empowerment over your future life and your path, you can click this video here. Thanks for watching. Cheers.